Hello students, welcome back to Geography class. Today we will continue our chapter that is Agriculture in India. In this class we will learn about the problems that facing by Indian agriculture as well as what are the reforms or what are the steps taken by the government to improve the agricultural sector. India is a vast country. It is having a large area which is suitable for the agricultural activities and it comes under tropical climatic region. Then it is having, because of its climatic features, it is having a very long cropping season, and due to the climatic variations and soil conditions present here, India is able to cultivate different types of crops, food crops as well as cash crops. But then also we have some drawbacks in the field of agriculture. When we compare with the agricultural productivity of other countries, we are lagging behind. That is the problem. So what are the problems leading to this drawback in the productivity? That is what we are going to find. Okay, then our first point is unreliable rainfall. We have learned in the chapter Climate of India, we experience monsoon rainfall. So this monsoon rainfall that is highly unreliable. That means it is uncertain, it is irregular, it is unevenly distributed, it cannot be predicted. Then it is erratic in nature. So these features that leads to the lack of productivity or the drawback of productivity in the agricultural sector. The second point also we can read with the first one itself, because our dependency on monsoon rainfall, that is because of the lack of irrigation facilities. India is having a large number of rivers, but we don't have modern methods of irrigation. Because of that only farmers depends on the unreliable rainfall, and that leads to sometimes if there is heavy rainfall that leads to occurrence of flood, and if there is low rainfall that leads to drought condition. Both leads to low productivity in the agricultural sector. Another important problem facing by India, that is soil erosion. When the monsoon rainfall takes place, the sudden torrential rainfall that leads to the removal of top fertile soil. Every year that leads to the decrease in the arable land all over India. So soil erosion is an important threat facing by Indian farmers. It not only reducing the agricultural land, it leads to the loss of large fertile topsoil. Fifth point, that is demand for food. We know that the population increasing day by day. So that gives a pressure on the farmers for increasing the productivity of food crops. So farmers, they are concentrating on the production of wheat, which is a staple crop in the North India, and rice, which is a staple crop in the South India. So they concentrated over these two crops. Because of that, the continuous cultivation is taking place of which crops? Wheat and rice. So the soil fertility decreases. And the last point, reduction in net sown area. Nowadays, there is a trend among the farmers to shift from food crops to cash crops, because food crops, it is not profitable for the farmers. So if they are following the cash crops, they will be more profitable. So they will shift from food crops to cash crops, sometimes vegetables and fruits, etc. So that will reduce the availability of net sown area for the cultivation of cereals and pulses. Population increase that leads to the transformation of agricultural land into what we are using the agricultural land for making settlements, for making urban centers, marketplaces, industries and all. So the availability of land for agriculture that decreasing. So excessive pressure on the available land is there. So farmers has to accommodate with the available land, and they have to produce more for the increasing population. Next point is about the small and fragmented land holdings. As we know, when the population increases, the property of a parent, property of father, that will be divided into his offsprings. And in the next generation, it will be again divided into the next offsprings. Like that, the land holding that belonging to a family, that is subdividing into many fragments. Because of that, this small land area, it will be used for cultivating some crops like rice, vegetables, etc. And it is very difficult to use modern machinery in the small land holdings. And because of the poverty, the farmers are not able to use scientific methods of cultivation as well as high yielding varieties of crops, or use of pesticides, fertilizers, etc. also limited in such areas, as farmers are following subsistence agriculture. And when the land holdings, its amount decreases, farmers, they are not able to take money from their pocket for the agricultural activity, so they will take loan from the banks or from the individuals. Sometimes they will, some parts of India, they are following zamindari system, so the land tenure is existing there. In such a situation, when the farmers, if there is any lack of productivity related with the flood or related with the occurrence of drought, if the productivity reduces, means they will not be able to repay the money. That will leads to bankruptcy. That is another important problem facing by the farmers. So the banks, sometimes individuals or the zamindars, they are exploiting the farmers, and finally the farmers will lose their land. As we learned earlier, Indian farmers following subsistence agriculture. It is one of the important feature of the Indian agriculture. So you may be knowing the meaning of subsistence agriculture. It is practicing only on a small land, and farmer and his family members are the workers in the land, and they follow primitive methods of agriculture. They use manures which is locally available, cow dung and all they are using, and the seeds are not high yielding. There is no use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So the productivity from that small land holding, it will be very less. That is only for the consumption of the farmer and his family members. And another important element, that is human factors. Most of the Indian farmers are poor and already debt driven, and some are not educated. So because of these problems, they are not able to follow modern methods of farming, or they are not able to purchase modern equipments. Due to lack of education, they are not coming to the forefront to know about the marketing facilities, or to know about the availability of loans on a fair rate of interest. So the farmers, those who are uneducated, they are going behind the scenes because of their illiteracy, and they are not able to access to the modern methods of cultivation and marketing. Challenges posed by globalization. Globalization means all world that become a small village. All the transactions can taken place between the countries. So what happens here? In India, the cost of production is high. So Indian goods, it is expensive in the world market. But when other countries, they are following the modern methods of agricultural activities, they are able to produce their crops in a low rate. So there is a competition between Indian products and the world products, other countries' products. So which country producing the goods with a low rate, they will get the market. So Indian farmers, they are not getting the market for their crops. So there is a loss in the part of the Indian farmers. So here many products that producing in India is having high quality, but we are not able to compete with the rate of the products from the foreign countries. Why they are able to produce in a cheap rate? Because of the machineries that they are using that reduce the cost of production. Then when they follow the biotechnology, they are able to use highly productive seeds, and governments they provide subsidies that also result in the low production cost. We have already discussed about the technological factors, that means the use of old and inefficient methods of farming. The large number of farmers in India, they are using wooden plows and bullocks still now. So the mechanization is limited. Because of that, the productivity from the farmland that decreases. Then lack of irrigation. So canals, these facilities not available for the farmers. Supply of electricity that is reduced. Then modern methods like a sprinkler irrigation or drip irrigation that needs more money for their setting up. Because of that, the farmers they are not able to use such a type of irrigational facilities in their agricultural land. Decline in the agricultural sector that will lead to the decline in other sectors of Indian economy. So to check this, the government of India has taken a number of steps as a part of Green Revolution. It started in 1990s. You know that Norman Borlaug, he was invited to India by Nehru government. He was supported by M.S. Swaminathan, the father of Green Revolution in India. Okay, after that, Intensive Agriculture Development Program IADP was adopted in India. It taken a number of steps to improve the agricultural sector. The aim of IADP was transforming the agricultural sector and increasing the food crop production to meet the increasing demand. So we can check what are the aspects of Green Revolution. So first of all, it starts with the use of high yielding varieties of seeds, HYV seeds. So with the minimum number of seeds, we will be able to get maximum productivity from each individual crop. And set up a number of multi-purpose dams to increase the availability of water for irrigation, and at the same time it increased the availability of power supply in all over India. Then only farmers will be able to use this power for taking water from the wells and all. Then it expanded the use of insecticides, pesticides and chemical fertilizers in all over India. This actually started in 1960s from Punjab, Haryana, and slowly it spread in the other part of northern plains. Afterwards, means in 1990s only, it spread to the other part of Indian states. The land reforms like abolition of zamindari system and reduce the number of intermediaries between the consumer and the agricultural producers or the farmers. Then consolidation of fragmented agricultural land holdings. All these are integral part of the land reforms policy of the Indian government. There was some legislations passed for the prevention of subdivision or fragmentation of the lands to a certain limit. Thus, farmers are able to use machineries and other advanced technologies in their agricultural land. Then construction of multi-purpose dams that leads to the spread of electrification even in the rural areas of Indian villages. Then rural infrastructure that improved, that means more network of roadways and railways that developed the transport of agricultural products from the farmland to the market. Government started to supply agricultural credit, and government announces minimum support prices for agricultural crops from time to time, and started to give incentives to the farmers, Kisan credit cards, and started to give pension for the farmers, those who are having more than 60 years of age, etc. All these are more supportive to the farmers to be in their agricultural sector itself. So those who are not cultivating, those who are transformed from the agricultural sector to other sectors, they were now coming back to the agricultural region because of these measures adopted by the government. Use of chemical fertilizers that also promoted, and nowadays to keep the soil fertility in a stable pattern, government that promoting more biofertilizers or biomanures more than that of the chemical fertilizers, and soil testing laboratories set up in all over India to check the soil health, and soil health card is available to the farmers nowadays. Accordingly, they can use the fertilizers, which mineral is missing in their soil, that mineral only they want to apply as a fertilizer in the soil. A number of agricultural universities are opened in different parts of India to make researches based on the different crops which can be cultivated in different parts of India based on the availability of soil, based on the climatic conditions and all. So farmers, they will be able to increase their productivity in even in small land area with a small amount of seeds and on a low cost. All these reforms and efforts led to remarkable increase in productivity and have made India self-sufficient in food production. By 2010 and 11, the production of food grains increased 4 times. Now India is able to export food items, means food materials, food grains to other countries. And this remarkably visible in states like Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, which is located in the northern plains, where large leveled land is available for the agricultural activities.